Yellow, yellow. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. We are going to be talking about in this um, first little course, module, whatever you want to call it. We're going to be talking about setting up your A2P application so that you can send out text messages. Okay. And we're also going to be going over, text messaging best practices so that we keep failed messages and opt outs down in low percentage levels so that carriers don't start blocking your messages. Because the whole point of sending out text messages is to make sure that people get them. And if they're not getting them, you're wasting your time and money, right? So let's get to it. All right. And I know A2P applications, especially in real estate, is a big pain in the ass. Okay. Really, because it's considered as a high risk, like a financial industry type of business. That's how the carriers look at it. So you just have to understand what the carriers are looking for. And really, what they're looking for is just to make sure that you are who you are and you are a legitimate business. You're not a scammer that's quickly trying to make a count just to mass text people, right? So real quick, let's go over what we need in order to apply for an A2P application. One is your EIN number. Okay. If you don't have an EIN, just get it. It's super freaking easy. Okay. It takes like 15 minutes and it's super cheap, if not free. A lot of times IRS doesn't even charge for it. Sometimes it's like 20, $25. Okay. It's very simple to do and get. And I have a link in the course as well here where you can go and get that application direct from the IRS site. Here it is. Here's a link. So it takes probably like 15 minutes to honestly fill this out. Apply for the EIN. You do have to do it Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time is when you can apply. Okay. But other than that, it's such an easy thing to do. So anytime that I see people saying, "Oh, I don't have an EIN," or I can't do it because of this, that, and the other, it's just bad excuses. Super easy to get, so get it. Next is your business email. Okay, a business email is an email address that isn't, it's not an at Gmail, at Hotmail, at Yahoo, right? It's not a free email. It is a business email. It has your domain or a domain. Okay, so it's like your name at yourbusinessdomain.com. Okay. Um, and it can't be a business. You can't just set up the business email the same day as your A2P application. Maybe create it and then wait a couple of days. It just needs, because it won't go through if you just created a business email address. They want it to be somewhat, just give it a day or two is what I'd recommend. And then we need an opt-in form, okay, with the appropriate opt-in language. That's going to be the form that you're going to show in your application that people are coming to opt in to your SMS campaign. Why are they getting text messages? Things like that. I'll get into the form in this course. And then privacy in terms of service pages. We have those. I'm gonna be making this from scratch so that you see how everything's built out. But of course, in this, when you buy the course from us, you also get the templates. So you have the privacy and term pages already there in your high level account, but you just got to go in and change it with your information, things like that. And then text examples. And when you are applying for it, there's already examples that you can simply copy paste and make uniquely yours. And we'll be going over that. We're also going to be touching on texting best practices. Okay, so instead of texting stop to unsubscribe from your list, we're going to say text out, because anytime you text stop, it raises a red flag with the carriers, and we don't want that. So we're going to text out, and then we're going to take them off of our do not text list. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. Avoid flagged words. Now, this is a lot of times in our AI prompt. We will get a list of words that we don't want AI to be texting out to people because the carriers could be flagging that. And so, as long as you train AI, you don't use these words. It does a pretty good job of doing that and decreases the amount of flagged spam words. Um, Phone numbers. I always recommend 5 phone numbers at least. And that's, and phone numbers are cheap. They're like, $2 per phone number. Um, and then at the same time, keeping the text messages down to 100 or less text messages per phone. And also space the text out. Okay, you don't want to sit there and send out 1,000 texts at once. Okay, because a lot of those texts will start getting blocked because the carriers, they know what a natural type of back and forth texting kind of is, right? If you're sending out these massive text blasts, you're gonna have a higher chance of carriers blocking those messages. So space them out, one text every 5 minutes, maybe in 3 minutes, depending on how many texts you're sending out. But just again, you want to try to make sure that you are keeping the text down in number as well during the days, and only be texting during business hours type of deal during the day. You don't want to be texting people at midnight kind of thing. That also is red flags to the carriers. Okay. So good behavior on texting is crucial for your numbers to stay healthy and for the text messages to be delivered. And then also T-Mobile. When we get our data, when we skip trace our data, we get what type of phone carrier the people have. So that way we can take T-Mobile numbers and funnel them in through a slower drip. That is because T-Mobile currently, and this changes, carriers always change, but currently T-Mobile is the biggest pain in the butt as far as trying to please and make them happy on the text messages that are going out. I've had a lot of experiences of just testing saying, "Hey, how's it going, John?" Just a simple like, "Hey, how are you?" And T-Mobile still flags it. So just understand, T-Mobile is a pain in the butt to get around and make them happy. So that's why we take those guys out and we treat them a little bit differently as far as dripping out those texts out a lot slower, so it doesn't look like it's a larger campaign to T-Mobile. And verify the numbers you're texting. Okay, we don't want to be texting out to potential landlines. We don't want to be texting out to numbers that aren't active anymore because, again, that hurts our reputation and the carriers will start flagging you. All right, let's move on to this A2P setup. All right, I am going to be starting this on a fresh account. Okay, we're doing everything from scratch. We're doing everything from scratch. What is going on here? Okay, I'm just gonna turn this off here. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna move my video on this side, so it's a little bit out of the way. All right, so I'm gonna do everything here is just gonna be like an example. All right, because I'm not gonna show you an actual EIN number. You don't want to have that kind of type stuff public. All right. So we are going to, I'm just going to call a snapshot. Sure. Legal business name. I'm just going to do perfect flow. Okay. And this is going to be Matt at perfectflow.ai. And all this information is really important that you're filling out correctly because this information is going to go directly into your A2P application. It's going to save you a lot of time. And plus, you need this on your business profile anyway. Here, just 1 second here. Okay, so we got business email, phone number, branded domain. It doesn't have to be it, but basically the difference here is you could have a couple different domains if you wanted here. But I'm just gonna do AI, perfectflow.ai, real estate agency. That one's already filled out. Make sure you got your physical address here. I'm just going to do 123 fake street city. We're going to do Fakeville. Sure. 123. Okay. Or here, we'll just do boom. Alaska. Sure. K. Outbound, you don't necessarily need this, but yeah, it's going to be English. Okay. Um, Now we are going down to the next section here. Well, let's just do authorized representative here. This is when you want to put your details, or the CEO, or whoever, the main guy, the main dude in your business that is going to be responsible for this, and usually it's yours, right? So just put your details here. It's got to have with country code. So you can do okay. Business type. Put your business type. Now this is where we're going to be putting in our EIN and stuff, and you could get A2P if you're a sole proprietor. However, that process is going to be a little bit different. You're going to go through here, or when you go through the A2P application, it's going to ask for proof of identity. So you're going to be showing the camera your ID, taking pictures, of your face. And that could, that method is fine. However, I do not recommend that method. That is because as far as I know, you have to do that every single time you get a phone number. So if we have 5 phone numbers, you have to do it 5 times. And at the same time, it's going to be and you could do this with just toll-free numbers as well. You could just get toll-free numbers if you didn't want to get local numbers, and you could go through the same, showing your ID and everything. You're going to have a harder time getting approved. Okay, I don't see I see the percentage rate of getting approved for that much lower than the more traditional EIN number A2P way, and I don't know why, but I believe it's probably because real estate is considered high risk, like a financial industry kind of thing. So you're going to see a less success rate in getting your A2P application approved if you are doing it the sole proprietor, or the just a toll free way. So industry, we are going to go to real estate. So we want to do EIN, and we're going to do our number. I'm just going to do something like that. And if you're going the sole proprietor way and not using the EIN, just put your business is not registered. Business regions of operations, USA and Canada. Now let's go down in the general here. Okay. So basically, there's some things we don't want checked out. Okay, so merge Facebook contacts by name. I don't do that because if we're going to be having Facebook campaigns and we have our own, we have several different campaigns. You don't want names to be what's connecting people together. Okay, you really want something a little bit more unique, like phone number or email. That's how the system's going to be pairing information or updating contact details. So you don't want to check that. Disable contact time zone. I don't do that because we want to make sure, like, if we have different markets, like we have a market on the East Coast and one on the West Coast, we don't want to be sending 6 a.m. text messages, really early text message, really late text message, just because we aren't respecting the contact's time zone. So I leave that unchecked. Bot detection, preventing statistics, increment, automation, execution. Yes. I text this, keep that checkbox on. That just helps the system try to identify if you're reaching out to bots or bots are trying to reach out to you, kind of thing. Verify email address when first email is sent out. Yes, do this. Okay. Our skip tracing data that we use does verify the email addresses and phone numbers. However, having this extra layer of verification is definitely important, and it's definitely worth the fractions and fractions of a cent that it costs. Okay. Um, Make email compliant by adding unsubscribe link. Yes, just do it, because if you don't, then there's going to be certain email providers that are just going to automatically start blocking your emails really quickly. Okay. We do not allow duplicate contact details. Do not check this. We do want to find existing contacts based on email and phone. Okay. Like I was saying before, we don't want to be matching names because people have same names. Okay. We want to be matching emails or phone numbers so we don't duplicate. Okay. All right. So everything here is filled out. I do want to probably click on all this update. So all this information is updated. Okay. Should all be okay. All right. Now let's now we got our business profile all taken care of. Let's go down to phone numbers. Okay. And we are going to you could start buying phone numbers if you want, but may as well just get the A2P first. All right. So we're going to go to Trust Center. Okay. We haven't started our application yet. Let's go to registering here. Now, before I do this, there's actually more things we need to do, isn't there? Right. If we go back to what we needed to do here, right? It is, let's go back to this list here. We got our EIN in, okay. We got our business email in, okay. But we still need our opt-in form with opt-in language. We need our privacy in terms of service pages. And then this text example, we will do that during the application. But if we get these two done right now, it's going to make life simpler. Now, in doing this, I'm going to do this from scratch, 100% from scratch. So that this way, you also kind of see how forms work, how websites, building out the websites kind of look. You get a little taste of that. That is, we do have more in-depth courses on that, but it's going to give you a little taste on how that works and how to do it from scratch. Because that's what you might want to do anyways. You might not want to use our templates that we give you for this. That's totally up to you. Okay. So we are going to go to sites. Let's first get our opt-in form. Okay. So this is the form that we're going to be telling the carriers, hey, this is what people are going to fill out details about their property and check the box that they're opting into our text message campaigns. Okay. So let's go to the builder. So we have some templates already here, but let's pick a template. Okay. We're going to just pick a template. I usually choose a template because it just makes it a bit easier and it looks more professional. It's going to, like this one's perfect. Request evaluation, home evaluation. Let's just use it. This is perfect. So using a template like this is going to make it a lot easier and make it look more professional. All these fields automatically, once you get this form built out, these forms become contact fields, and it's really easy to find out the details of everyone who actually fills this out. So request for home valuation. This top, this is just basically an image. I recommend, when I'm not going to do it right now, because it's just kind of like showing you examples, but I will recommend that you put your logo here and then maybe have a little text underneath it explaining what's going on. And I recommend that because the carriers like to really see that the branding's matching up. It's like, okay, you say this is your domain, this is your business name, And okay, look, your form has your branding on it too. That's actually, if I fail an A2P application the first time, most of the time it's because whoever was reviewing it didn't like that things weren't matching up. They wanted to see a little bit more brand recognition here. So if you want to make sure that you have a better chance of getting it approved the first time, make this unique to your brand. And this could be an actual form that you use. This is a great form, landing page and whatnot. And how I usually do it in A2P application, I'll say, hey, we have Facebook ads. People click on the ad and they come to our landing page form and they fill it out. So that's how I usually present it to the carriers, and it works. So just understand, like, you could totally have this and see if this works, but without any branding. And a lot of times you could just have you could go click here, and we will come back to this. Here, copy the form link. So as you can see, this isn't a branded, it's not like your domain. So you could, to even go even further, is have this connected to a domain that's similar to yours. And that would definitely help in getting your A2P application approved. Most of the time, it's fine when I just copy paste this. Okay, most of the time. Sometimes, if it gets denied, I will make sure that the domain is at least something similar to the existing business. So that way the branding, again, just lines up to whatever this is. All right. So this is huge. This is interesting right here. Okay. This form is missing something huge. Class, do you know what this is missing? What is this form missing? Can anyone? I know this. You guys are watching recording. Put your hands down. It's missing the opt-in language. All right. It's missing the opt-in language. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this. Okay. We need a checkbox. Okay. And let's just go to options. Let's delete these. And you know what? I'm going to go real quick. I'm going to go over where's my link? Where is my, 1 second. I'm looking for my opt-in language text. And of course I can't find it right now. 1 second. I'll find it. All right. I am here. I'm back. Whoop. Okay. We're back. I found it. Okay. So it could be, there's definitely better text out here, that we have. And I'm going to, let's, 1 second. I want to give you better text, because the one I have here isn't the greatest, to be honest, right? And I want to give you guys the best verbiage that we can get. Okay, this is a good one. I'm going to go ahead, just copy paste this in here. Whoop. All right. So checkbox. We're going to say, I'm not even going to have a title. We don't need to have a label. Okay. And basically this is, obviously it'd be nice if this was, split down here, but you know what we might do? We can go to the form settings here and just do single column. And there you go. This is a little bit better. It looks a little better when it's straight like this. So basically you just, you want to make sure that, this one will pop up your location phone that is in your business profile. You can text we'll say, yeah, that's fine. Just leave this. Oh, that was some text that was there. So this is good. This is a decent opt-in. We just want to make sure that this is required. Okay. Gonna go back. This is required. We are missing one more thing here. All right, missing one more thing. And you can do this a couple ways. Of course, it doesn't look as nice when it's there. So what I'm going to do, we're going to do a text. Whoop, right in here. And we are going to make this much smaller. Okay, maybe even smaller. Okay, and this is going to be privacy. Terms of service. Now, this is going to be what links to our privacy and terms of service pages. Okay, we're going to come back when we make those pages. We're going to link it up here. All right. So this is good for now. Let's save it. Oh. Just going to call this property details. Why isn't it saving? Name should not be empty. What are you talking about? Error. Name should not be empty. I love it. Love it when it should be actually empty because it doesn't even make sense why you would make it required. It's not even a required field. Maybe it's so if we do the button here. All right. I'm going to go here. We're going to open the form link here. Okay, we got it. But it's not the newest one, is it? It's still kind of messed up. Okay. Oh. All right. That is what it needed. That's the name it needed. All right. Saved. We're good to go. I do have the form link here. I'm just going to refresh it. So when I could just come here and grab that link when I need to. But we do got to come back anyway to make sure that the terms and service pages are connected. But now let's go and create that privacy and terms of service page. Now you could do this a couple different ways. You can make two different pages, one page privacy, one page terms of service. That is probably the traditional way. I combine them most of the time, and I haven't had a problem actually doing that. So I'm, when it comes to A2P applications, if it works the way you're doing it, just keep doing it until it doesn't, and then start mixing things up and seeing if you can do what you need to do to get the application through. But privacy and terms of service page does seem to be fine on the same page in my experience. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and go to websites. You could do this in funnels as well. I try to keep it separate because, funnels, they are, and again, this is a different course where we go more in depth on funnels and websites and, the difference between the two and why you use whatever. A funnel, this is probably more, like the form, right? The form that we just built would be great on a landing page here in a funnel. All right. That would be a good use for a funnel. However, terms and service privacy page, it is better to do it from a website. So let's go ahead and choose a template. Okay. We're going to choose this template. Let's go ahead and select a real estate template. So there's agents, services. There's all kinds of different templates to choose from. I think there's even, for wholesaling here. There's too many to choose from. Which one do I want to use? Because it doesn't really matter, because we are going to we're not going to really use any of these pages. So let's go ahead and just use this one. Now, as we open this up and we start messing around with it, adding your logo, probably a good idea. Okay, add your logo, because then again, like I was saying, the more branding that you have that's representing what you are, that you're a real company. This is your website. This is your domain. So the logo, the domain, when you have all of those things, it's going to work out a lot better for you as far as getting your A2P application approved. Because again, sometimes if they see any of this stuff that isn't quite matching up, right? They're like, hey, this is a random link, or there's not even a logo here, it just says logo here. They're going to put a flag and be like, this isn't even a real business, right? So make sure that this is legit. Like when I set this up for companies and startups, sometimes people don't even have logos, right? So I'll go in Canva and quickly just write their business name, make a quick little logo, and stick it up in here, and it works out just fine. The other thing is, since this isn't, we're not using this quite yet, at least as a real functioning website, we're just using this for terms and service privacy policy page, right? So we don't really want these menus here. So let's just go ahead and take these out right now. And we'll just do this one by one. We don't, because really, again, we just, and I don't even want this. We don't want nothing. We don't want, we just want to send a link that this is the privacy policy terms service page. That's it. You can't go clicking around and figure out what anything else is. And let's go ahead and just change the logo out to just something that's not there, so that everyone's on the same page. So I'm just going to do this simple logo. We're just going to do the Skippity logo. Cool. Okay, so it's just going to, again, this isn't an actual A2P application I'm doing. This is just a sample, but I'm just showing you how. Change that logo up there. All right. And all this junk, we don't need this. So this is a universal element. It's going to be on pretty much every page, right? So that's why I edited this. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and see if we just want to change out one of these pages. What one of this is? What we want to save. Save it. Always save. Always save everything that you're building. All right, let's just go to the contact us page. And of course, it didn't save this. So we don't want any of this. We are going to delete this section. We're going to delete this. We're going to delete that. I'm going to delete this too. Boom. Look how ugly this looks. All right. But let's go ahead and make these edits real quick. I think my bad on probably not actually saving it like I should have. So we're just going to go here. Again, we don't want to create an environment where we're giving whoever's looking at this and going to be approving our A2P application, we don't want to give anything off that says, hey, this is just this, we just made this page to get our A2P application, right? We want this to be, hey, this is our real terms and service page. And it is the real terms and services page. Definitely, continue using this for your websites and whatever else you need it for. I'm going to wait. We need section here, and we're going to add a row or a column there. Now let's add, it's a headline. We're going to say privacy policy and terms of service. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get our text in. I have this already made out. I'm just going to copy and paste it. If you're wondering where I got this, I had AI make it for me. Okay. Surprise. Sure, that doesn't surprise anyone. All right. You copy paste it. It looks like turd. Copy paste it. Looks like turd. So let's go ahead and make this look somewhat decent. All right. Here it's fine. I'm gonna these types of deals. Everything here you need to customize. Okay. Put in obviously a decent date that makes sense. If you did it, today, probably not the best idea. If you did it today, yeah, probably not the best idea. So be sure that it is, your company name, your emails, and everything that is relevant to you. Make sure that is all correct. Because if they see, your company name, in brackets, and they see, you didn't put in a date, it's gonna get denied. Okay, they aren't stupid. All right. When they're looking through this application. So I'm just going up and cleaning this up so that we are looking somewhat nicer. I don't like these spaces here to be too crazy. I will close these gaps up. Why not? Make it a little bit organized. So now we're going into privacy policy section. Again, make sure you're updating all of the template details. Okay, so you need to make sure that it's the appropriate name, or else it will get denied. Okay, and that's the other thing. If you're like, oops, I didn't get denied, maybe check out. They do tell you reasons why it gets denied, but it won't be like super specific. They're not going to say, oh, you got denied because your terms of policy page was incorrect. It'll be a little bit more vague than that, but it'll give you an idea of maybe what you did wrong. And it could be something here like you didn't put your company name, and it just is not believable, right? They're gonna call you out. All right, so make sure all those details are filled out. All right. Now I'm gonna publish this. Oh, right, of course. You need your domain. So like I was saying, if you can get your domain attached to this, now we do have again courses that's going more in depth on domains and websites and everything. So that's going to be really in there, but it's super easy to go and purchase your own domain. Okay. Sure, I'll go ahead and click it, and then we'll come back to this. But you could come here and buy a domain, super simple, and then one click, it is going to be connected to the site. Okay. And I'll show you too, buying the domains within Go High Level is a lot more easier than going into your domain provider and connecting DNS settings and stuff like that. It's just a click of a button when you work within High Level. So it's much easier, but I will, what I'll do, save this. Okay. And let's do the preview. I'm not going to lie. I have been able to get A2P approved by just putting in the sample link. Okay. It could work for you. But sometimes, like I was saying, If it gets denied, it could be because of that, because this domain, it doesn't match your brand. It's just, it's a high level domain. Okay. So keep that in mind. So we have this privacy policy term page. I'm just going to connect it this way. I do recommend you connect a domain to better increase your chances of getting your A2P application approved. Again, it's probably my bad advice. It's probably my bad advice to tell you to just use this link. That is the lazy man's way of doing it. And if you say, I'll risk it, I'll just do it this way, go for it. But understand, it has a much higher chance of not getting approved because of that. Okay. It's much different than the form. The opt-in form, it's that is much easier to get by of just using like the lead connector domain, just the form link, because it's a landing page. It's just a sign up form, right? It's not necessarily supposed to be attached. It doesn't have to be attached to your brand, right? Or I'm sorry, your website. Whereas the privacy policy in terms of service is is expected to be attached to your website. All right, it's supposed to be easily accessible to get to. All right, so again, I do recommend getting your domain connected here. But I will. That's in a different course, and it's not hard. We are going to go back now. We have this. We have that. We have. I believe I just copied the link. Cool. We're going to go back to the form, because if you remember, we have to now connect the privacy page, terms of service, to the form. Property details. Was this the form that we were making? Yeah. Okay. So here, we want to click this. We want to link it to our page. Boom. And this is crucial. If you do not do this, if the form with the consent here, it is not attached to, if your privacy terms of service pages is not linked from this form, you will not get approved. A2P will deny you. So do make sure that your form is connected here, because they do check. That is a big thing that you need to do, is make sure that this is, right here with your opt-in consent details. Now we're going to save. Cool. All right. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to make sure, here. I want to make sure that these links are a little bit easier to get to as we are going through the A2P application. So we got our form built. We have our privacy policy and terms of service all built out. Let's go ahead and go through and get our A2P application going. So we're going to go to settings, back to phone numbers, trust center. Let's start the registration. Is the business entity you're registering located in the U.S. and Canada? Yes, it is. Does the business you're registering have a tax ID, blah, 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 EIN? Yes, it does. Again, if you don't, you can get approved. It's just going to be a little bit different process. And being in a high risk category, you have a higher chance of it not getting approved. Okay. And as far as I know, this EIN way is the way to go as far as getting it going. Oh, cool. Of course, I spelled it wrong in the legal business name out there, and nobody stopped to tell me. All right. So as you can see, so the business profile details that we filled out at the beginning automatically populates here. This helps you save a bunch of time in filling this out. Okay. Next step. Everything here, again, it's just part of the business profile. Boom, boom, boom. Done, done, done. Everything filled out already. Boom, boom, boom. Done, done, done. Okay. Now we're moving on. Low volume. All right. We're going to continue. Now is going through the campaign details part of the application. So the application has really kind of two steps. Okay. The first one is the branding, right? Mine's probably going to fail because it's not even a real EIN number and all that. And this is all just examples. Okay. So This one would fail because it's not even real information. But when you're filling it out, of course, it's going to be your details, so everything will be accurate and aligned correctly to who you are. We're going to do in a low volume. Cool. So use case description. Okay. I always just do the examples. You don't need to sit here and have your own use case. Use the examples because they work. So let's go ahead. This campaign sends appointment information, confirmation, reminder message to customers once they've booked. Boom. Especially with our form, we're like, hey, send in your property details. This makes sense. Okay. They're signing up to have a conversation with us. Again, make sure you're editing this to have your business name. Okay. Don't just send it with those brackets like that. Don't just send it like this. Okay. Take the time to change it. Because again, if you send it, you're not paying attention, it's gonna fail. And then you got to go back and do this again and pay another $20. Okay. Because every time you have to redo this, it's going to be like another 20 some dollars that you got to pay to send this application. So just try to get it done right the first time, and then you won't have to try to do it again. All right, so just make sure that all of that is correct. I'll just do it here just to show and be a good, even though this isn't real for me anyway, we're going to just do it. Make sure it looks good. Sample message number 1. So this is a sample message of what they're going to be, what we're going to be sending out. Okay, so we're going to copy this. We're going to be pasting it. It doesn't really matter too much on the names that you're using. That's all fine. But again, make sure you have your company name. Make sure this. It's nice to have phone numbers that are yours, but I haven't had anyone get denied necessarily just because they put in a kind of a dummy phone number. But notice how you put a phone number here. Remember this because that'll come important down here in a second. So message sample number 2, just copy. Yeah, you could do this. That's fine. Boom. Again, make sure everything is lining up. Make sure the links are there. And actually, I'm going to do this for an example. So as we go in here, the message will include an embedded link. I sometimes just click no, and I make sure that the example doesn't have it doesn't have a link there. Okay, you don't have to have a link. You don't have to tell them that you're going to have a link. What I've noticed is that if you say that you're going to have a link, sometimes it just I don't think you get approved or denied because of that. I just say no because it's not really necessarily needed for our use case. If it was needed in the use case, if it's like, okay, hey, I'm going to text them this link, and then they're going to go to a link and do this, that, and the other, then do that. But here, again, this is just sending confirmations about appointments that we're saying, right? We're not saying they need to go to a link. So I would just say no link and say, I'm not going to send it. Now, of course, when you're sending out text messages, you can put links. It's going to be fine. But you don't, if you're going to sit here and say, yeah, I'm going to have an embed link, and you have a link here, an example, but your use case doesn't really need a link. That's where things, again, it just starts getting a little bit more confusing for them on what you're trying to do. What's your whole purpose here? Are you linking to spam? Are you linking to viruses? Why are you sending links out if it's not in your use case, right? So just, the KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Okay. Just make it so it's like, we're just trying to get, appointment follow-ups. That's the only reason. Just tell them that, and it's going to be fine. The message will include phone numbers. We do have this phone number here, so I think that's okay. Please reach out to so-and-so. I think that's fine. You could do the same thing and say, you know what? No, not going to have phone numbers. You could do that too. Make it simple. You don't have to have phone numbers. You don't have to tell them that you're going to have phone numbers. Again, I haven't noticed anything about getting denied because you're not putting a phone. You don't have to put phone numbers in your message. If anything, links, phone numbers, and when you start including that type of information in the text messages, it's like it just increases the chances for them to deny you. You know, you're just giving them more reasons to say no. So just keep it out if you want to keep it simple. Message. The message include age-gated content defined by carrier CTA guidelines. Yep, not including that. Message include content related to direct lending or other loan arrangement. Nope, it sure doesn't. Okay. So now we're going next. How do you lead contacts consent to receive text messages? Let's use an example. So right here, paste. Now, this is exact. So this is where you want to be linking the form. Okay. So we're going to go to our form. We're going to copy the link. Opt-in end users opt in by visiting, or you could say opt in from Facebook ads. I like to do that because then it kind of makes it a little bit more like, okay, yeah, we're doing Facebook ads. They're clicking our link in the Facebook ads, and then they're going to our form, which is right here. Again, if you're using your own domain with your own business name, it's going to look a lot better to them and getting this approved on your first try. Users check a box to receive notifications, promotional message to provide consent. Additional end users can also text start. I usually don't do this because, again, it just doesn't align with our use case, right? We're having people go to the form. We're not saying, oh, people are texting us to opt in or anything like that. So I usually just, again, if it doesn't fit the use case, don't include it. You don't need it. Opt-in message. So let's go here. This is fine. You know, this is basically what people would be getting if they opted into the form. This is the text message automatically comes out. Okay. So copy paste again, make sure everything is complete with your company details and you're not leaving this blank because or just says company name, because you will get denied right away if you do that. And then I believe that's it. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. Not correct format because it's fake. So you'd click that and then you would go back to the trust center. Let's just get out of here. All right, so when we're doing here, you'll see brand. Once you submit that, the brand is going to be pending, okay? And once that is approved, which usually it doesn't take too long for this to get approved. Most of the time, it's like within the same day. So it's approved, and then you got to go through, click start the campaign section, and you just built it out. You know, we already did the campaign, so you just got to go and click just go through, and maybe it's a good time for you to review the campaign and make sure that you didn't forget any of those company names, make sure the phone numbers are right, the links are right, review it again. But then you send the campaign and there you go, you're off to the races. Usually it takes roughly like 3 days to get that approved. All right. In my experience, if it doesn't go through, review and see what the reason. It'll have like a little reason here you could click on. It'll tell you why it was denied. It's going to be pretty vague. It's not going to be specific on what exactly you did wrong, but you could go back and, maybe it's the way that you were structuring a campaign. Maybe you forgot to put in your business name. Maybe it was, maybe they like to see the links, maybe you didn't do the domains and you did my horrible advice and just sending the preview link, right? Things like that could be why you get denied. It just depends on who is checking out your application and who's approving it. Okay, so while we're here, I'm gonna just when you get approved, you'll see that here. When you get approved, all this stuff will be more accessible for you. And so that's now I want to kind of go to advanced settings here. Okay. So this is kind of where we could set up to some of the best practices I was talking about as far as the phones go. Number intelligence, that's fine. You could basically, again, we have this checked at the business profile. I think they're just going to move it here and take it off there. Probably it looked like in an update. So I do I have this on. Okay, voice calls. So there's a couple things you could do here. You could do transcripts where whenever you're having a conversation, it can create transcripts for you. It's not necessarily recording, that's down here. If you want to record your calls, you can do that here. And then you could go into the reporting section and see, you and your teammates phone calls and listen to recordings. There is just an extra little fee for that per minute, I believe, and then plus storage as well. Connect me to the lead after the call recording message ends playing. So basically, you want to connect this if you're to your leads only after they've heard the call recording message. So let's say you have you have a message that you want to play before they actually go through you. It almost is kind of like a screening. I don't really do that personally, because it's like there's AI voice now that could take those calls, screen them, ask questions that you want, gather information from the users. So I don't really do the recordings up front, but some people like to do that, especially if you have like a complex IVR system. Forward calls, business number, ring users assigned a call number. Again, this is all just kind of based on preferences on how you want to be taken into calls. Incoming timeouts, I definitely, 20 seconds or lower is recommended. This is your voicemail audio you can upload. And then enable missed call text back. So if somebody calls in and you missed the call, you can set up this text message and customize it. What you want to say, basically. Yeah, like, hey, I saw we just missed your call, can I help? And this is actually great when you have conversation AI connected with the SMS, because now people can call in, and let's say you don't really like how the voice works. A lot of people don't like the AI voice. So what happens is they're like, okay, but the AI conversation via text is great. People don't know they're talking to the AI. So this is great because you can then say, hey, sorry, I missed your call. How can I help? You could say, hey, I'm in a meeting right now. Could I help you with something? And that way the AI can have that conversation via text with this person. And it works out really well when we implement that. SMS compliance. This is where you want to make sure it says reply out to unsubscribe. If it says stop right here, customize it here. All right. Now, this should be, now if you're signing up and you're using the Perfect Flow, sub account within our agency here, this should be automatic. You should already have this like this. Make SMS compliant by adding a sender information. You want this off. Now, the thing is, it's going to allow me to do this now because this is a snapshot. It's kind of like an older deal here. But you're not going to want to, you're not going to be able to not check this off if you're brand new. I believe it takes like 15 days. See, this is where it's like, by the time you listen to this course, things can change, because this is actually a newer update that I noticed. I didn't always used to be like this. I used to always be able just to check this compliant message off. And basically what happens is it can say, like, what if your first message is, hey, John, I see you own this property at ABC Street, and I saw that it was listed, but now it's expired. I'm wondering if you're still interested in selling it. And then it would say, thanks, your business name. Obviously this isn't like great. You probably, most people don't like it doing this, but you can customize it so that it says like, Sean or whatever, and then it'll say thanks, Sean, like your name or whoever name that you want it to say. Um, and you can mess around with that, but when you first get started, it's gonna have it's gonna this is the way it's gonna have to be for as far as I know 15 days, and then you can turn that off. um, just a heads up on that, but yeah, again, you can change this last bit, and you could put it up in the front too. You could say I want it at the beginning, not the end, so you could say, hey, um, and then when you, yeah, just keep in mind that when you're creating your message, that your first initial outbound message to the person, that this is what's going to happen here. This is what they're going to see before the message. You say, hi, this is boom, Sean, whatever. So, and again, I'm going to say this tidbit for you guys. So when we do the skip tracing, if you're getting your property data from us, at 50% off, you're going to get the litigator scrub. So you're going to know if someone has been labeled as a litigator or not. And if you're not sure what a litigator is, it is somebody who's basically just waiting for you to text them. And when you do, they're going to try to sue you. All right. And so the best way to get around it is, one, if they're, find out they're a litigator, we do that. Two, don't send them messages. We do that. I'll show you that in the workflow and in automation course. But we wean out litigators, so we make sure that we're not sending them messages. The other part, to safeguard you, to make sure that you are, protecting yourself, is don't use your full business name, or don't use your full name. Okay, because litigators, they're looking for the easy money. And the easy money is connecting the business name and the owner, or employee or something, and connecting them all together with the messages, send it to the judge, lawsuit done, right? So make it, say, if your business name is, like mine is Perfect Flow, I would say PF, abbreviate it, right? Abbreviate it. Or and maybe don't use your real name, maybe use just kind of like an assistant's name, your AI agent's name, your AI employee's name, whatever you name them, right? Do that just because it helps protect you. Because if they say, okay, I can't find this business, this phone number doesn't even align with what's the business that owns it. If they can't sit there and easily connect all the dots, they're not going to likely go down the rabbit hole and hunt you down, unless, of course, you really piss them off and you are just constantly blowing a litigator up. Yeah, so just be careful and protect yourself. Messaging limit, it starts off at 100 a day, and then you could go down level by level. You can simply update the limit here, and that's fine. Update that limit, because if you hit the limit, high level isn't going to allow you to send out text messages for another 24 hours. Okay, they're just going to pause you. They're going to be like, hey, you hit your limit, not sending any more messages. All right. So be sure to watch out on your message limit. It is nice maybe to put a limit to where you're like, I want, if I'm sending out crazy amount of text messages, I don't want to be sending out X amount. Maybe it's a budget control deal, or bottleneck control. But you can do it that way. But just keep in mind that the message limit starts at 100, and you don't really want to put yourself in a position where you're getting stopped just because you hit your limit, and now you can't send text messages out to anybody for another day. Call scripts you can put here. Restriction history, you'll just see when you're getting your slap on the hands. Hey, you have X amount of uh, you know failed texts, or it's really error, or opt outs. Okay, we want to keep opt outs below 2%, and errors below 6%. And we could do that by going to the message analytics, and we can see how we're doing. Now, when we're doing text out, this is why we say text out to unsubscribe. When we say text out, this is going to stay 0 because they're texting out, and I'm going to get to this in the workflow in just a second. But when they text out, it's not going to be an opt-out, okay, which is really important. If you have text stop and people are texting stop, this is going to increase, okay? Your percentage is going to get higher, and you want to keep this below 2%. And whenever I implement the text out, this stays at 0 or 1%, depending how many texts we're sending out, okay? So it really works. Make sure you're doing that. Error is when you are getting in trouble by trying to send to numbers that don't exist. Maybe you're sending numbers that are landlines, and we have a lot of things in place to we're verifying the numbers in the skip trace, and at the same time we're verifying before the text here. So we have 2 layers of protection that we're trying to keep this down at. And most of the time we can do that. Especially, it's important that you keep the messages spread apart per phone number. That's why we do 5 phone numbers. Because if you have like one number and you're like, I want to text out 500 people today, and you're putting that all in one number, that one number is going to have to be texting a lot, right? One every couple minutes, one every minute or so. And that's when you're going to start getting more and more errors, because carriers are going to sit there and start flagging you more and more. All right. So as long as you keep the numbers spread out, the numbers low per phone number, if you're like, okay, I got to text out thousands of people a day, you're going to need a lot more phone numbers to be able to handle that bandwidth and to spread those texts out per phone number. Okay, because you're gonna burn them out if you are sending them out a lot. So keep in mind, keep all of that in mind. And this error rate you want to keep below 6%. That is still really hard to do, even when you do the you do what I was recommending. But I don't have a lot of problems. The only time I have issues if again, I'm sending out too many messages and not enough phone numbers, or I'm not spreading the text out enough. That's when you start having more error rates in reality, or your list is just sucks, But again, when you are using us and our data and skip tracing, it's decent, and it doesn't, you're not going to be hitting these types of error rates. Okay. So that's that. Let me real quick. I just want to show you how the out works when people text out, because we definitely, we don't want to, we're doing it because we don't want to get flagged, but we also don't want to text them again. Okay. Cause then then you could get in trouble. All right. We don't want to get in trouble. We want to respect that person. When they don't want to get text messages from them, we don't want to send them anymore. All right. So let's go ahead and go to automation. And this is already built out for you, and so it's all ready to go. It'd be in our universal folder out. So how this works is if a customer replies via SMS and they say out in any of these ways, exact phrase, okay, exact phrase. And that's how stop works too. If they say stop exclamation points, or they say, hey, I want you to stop, it doesn't count. It's not going to actually put them on a do not dial list, right? You have to get that phrase exact, and that's the same way that we're doing here. So it's out. So it's capital, it's lowercase, capital, whatever. And then we say, hey, we're going to remove you from whatever workflows that we're texting from. And then we are going to either delete you or, just take you off of, make sure we're not sending you text messages again. That's it. Okay. And this is all customizable. I would maybe just move here, and you could delete this. Boom. And that's done. Now wait, that now this person's not getting deleted at all, and they're just getting taken off of the text message. They won't be getting text again. All right, so that's it. That was a long one. That is how you get your A2P application set up, and that is also text message best practices on making sure that you're making the carriers happy so that they don't start flagging your text and start blocking you. All right. Thanks for watching. Let's go ahead and carry on to the next course.